Hello, guys. Welcome to VIP-bet and Odds and Odds show. It's Friday and we had a midweek, busy midweek, not so profitable as the weekend, as you guys noticed for sure. It was up, but a little break-even up. It was a tough Champions League. I would say that between our bets would be like 0.3 when it's up. Nothing special compared with the amazing week that we had before, but that is completely normal. It's good that we didn't have any losses, so we managed to stay in profits in midweek. And let's now attack the weekend. This week we passed the value bets early in the week because of the Champions League. But essentially, I have to say that just one or two moves that we lost some value, but that's completely normal. But not huge value. So those that are following us like to do a sure win, I would say that they didn't have any chance at least on Premier League because the movements weren't so big enough to do that. Looking to the games. Before that, you guys also, I don't know if you guys know, but we have always an article at VIP-bet that does a rundown across the best bets for Premier League. So it's a very good article to check before the weekend. And we won't lose more time. Let's go through our bets because there is amazing games this weekend and incredible. Usually I try to run away from the big games because usually they are very tough, very rational. Usually the lines are very well done. But you're gonna find out in a minute why I'm telling you this, because I'm gonna be involved on the big games. So let's start for one that it's not a big game, but it's it's one of the good games of this weekend. Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. Tottenham, they trash Real Madrid at home. Unfortunately, with one more goal because like that we would see, with less one goal we would see our bet void because we were on under 3.0 on Champions League. We decided to go on under 3.5 at Bernabeu and then under 3.0 at Hart Lane. But this time on second leg it wasn't successful choice. So here it's still a huge difference between these two teams. Crystal Palace, they managed to find the draw on last game. We were on the over on that game between Crystal Palace and West Ham, the 2-2 draw of last week. But I think that there is still a huge difference between these two, especially on the road. For Crystal Palace, going to be a very tough game, even with the changes of coach. The team is, in my opinion, for me, the best challenger, the best team to buy a ticket for the championship on the end of the season. So Tottenham minus 1.5, it's the line here, and I think that is still valuable. You can find it around 196, and for me it's the line to take on this one. Tottenham is on a very good form, a very tough defense to beat, and I think that even Tottenham gonna win 2-0 on this one. So that can also be a bet, but minus 1.5, I think that 2 goals margin is the minimum that I expect here for a London win. Then after this we have a big game, one of the big games, Chelsea versus Man United. Chelsea comes from, as you know, from a defeated on the road versus Roma. We decided to get out of this game, but on the previous one we were also on Roma handicap because it was very valuable in England. This Chelsea doesn't impress me. It's true that we were talking last week, like the turnaround that they managed to do versus Tottenham was important, and then to win on the board versus Bournemouth on the road, it was also enough, to give us half win, because it wasn't a full win, it was just half. But here they're gonna have a tough opponent. I like Man United. Not only Man United. They're gonna have also Mourinho. It's gonna be interesting. It's always interesting when Mourinho goes back to Stamford Bridge. and also this time it's going to be also the time to Matic visit Chelsea. In my opinion, it's an evens game, probably an under here, as because of the tactic that Mourinho used to face all the rivals that can compete with him for the top of the table. So the value here, I'm going to run away from the over-ender because I think that sportsbooks here already, like, they predict very well. Well, they missed a little bit versus Liverpool, but now here versus Chelsea, they have already the line on under 2.0, over 2.0, so I think it's fair, no value there. But Man United plus, so Asian handicap plus 0.25, so we get a win in case of draw, half win in case of a draw. It's paying 1.8, 1.83, and for me it's the line to take here. I think that it's evens, and on a evens game, I want to be covered with two chances for a team that I think that even being on the road, for me is more probable to see a Man United win. The morale of this team is bigger than Chelsea one, and also the midfield is much stronger. So Man United plus 0.25, 1.8, 1.83. For me, it's the line to take here too. After this one, let's just give a word about Southampton versus Burnley. We were with Burnley last week, like Burnley versus Newcastle. It was a tough game, but as I was thinking, like it's impossible to see like Burnley versus Newcastle and Burnley being an underdog at home. They are very strong at home. They were much stronger last season, it's true, but they continue to be their turf with their crowd. It's always like more difficult for the other teams. But here they're going to play on the road versus Southampton, also a team that doesn't impress me for long. Very overrated in my opinion too by the sports books. And this is the one that we lost some value because we didn't have the preview early in the week. It was around 1.8 Burnley plus 1. Asian handicap plus 1. At the moment is 173 is the best odds that you probably can find around odds comparison, but you can check here on odds comparison of VIP-bet if you can find something better than that. Plus 1 looks for me a very safe bet. I think that Burnley can create an upset to this Southampton, especially I think they can grab a draw here, and plus 1 looks a very safe one. Southampton is not also a high scoring team. They will be very happy if they are winning by 1 goal. So I can see them pushing forward to win this by 2 goals difference. So Burnley plus 1 here, it's a safe bet that I'm going to take. After this one, we're going to City versus Arsenal. Another big game as Chelsea versus Man United. And here, well, I can say that it's a huge value. I decided to approach this game on a very careful one, and it's City. It's a team that is on amazing form. True, they have plenty of options. They play midweek, as Arsenal played too, and the difference of results is huge. Like City managed to beat Napoli on the road with a turnaround, an amazing 4-2, and Napoli, as I told you already, is for me the best team in Italy at the moment. Like a team that didn't sell anyone last season. They were already playing very well, so they are very, very used to play together. And it's a very difficult team to beat. And Man City managed to beat them, and on the road for Champions League, where their motivation is huge. And on the other side, Arsenal at home, well, they failed to win versus a very small team. But the motivation for Europa League is very small, especially for an English team. It's very difficult to motivate an English team to play Europa League. They don't like it. They call it a minor competition. So usually are the Latin countries like Italy, Spain, Portugal, and some nowadays not so many the Russian also, but that they give more importance to the Europa League. So this is a completely different game for Arsenal, and here the Man City can't be, in my opinion, so favored. Arsenal plus 1.5 goals is paying around the evens money, and that is, well, it's too much. At the moment you can find it not so evens, but 185, 186, and I have to say that it's aligned with value. Even believing that Man City is much better, but Arsenal can have a word on this game, especially after in a game where both had midweek games. So Arsenal here has a word to say, and this plus 1.5 goals is available line too. So I think that if you can find odd around 1.8 or higher than that, it deserves also a small shot. So those are the plays for this weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that it's profitable as last one. Besides the Premier League, there isn't any game on Serie A or Liga like last week. I decided to skip them. Nothing that it really, I could say that it's really a huge value. Just on the Portuguese League, as I told you, like we're gonna approach many times Portuguese League. There is a game between Guimarães that also play Europa League versus Marseille. They won the game 1-0 on the game that Evra completely lost his mind before the game and kicked up one of Marseille fans, and a game between Guimarães and Benfica. Benfica is favorite on that game, and the price in terms of 1x2 is very well made by the bookmakers. I think that it's fair. Of course, that the +1 of Guimarães could have some value, but not enough to play it. But then is on both teams to score that there is some value. You can still find both teams to score around 189 on 188 across. If you check around, you're gonna find it around 189, and even around 1.8. It's for me a huge line. Like Guimarães is a very offensive team. They play very very well together. They have very strong wings, and this season, we have Benfica has a big problem. Their defense is getting older. They, like the manager, decided to put a very young center back now, because to give at least more speed, more stamina during the games, and I think that Guimarães can score at least once versus this Benfica, and of course that I also expect Benfica to score. Guimarães they have some problems on defense. They usually concede easy goals. Even I like very much the defensive midfielders of Guimarães than the center backs, and also especially the full backs, right and left. Well, they are too weak compared with the rest of the team, so they also concede some goals. So guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any doubt about any line that I spoke during the show, let a comment on YouTube or Twitch, and VIP-bet will alert me to answer you. So I just wish you a very profitable weekend, and I see you early on next week. Since we don't have European competitions, we're gonna have the value bets for the weekend early in the week. So those that arbors, Sherwin, hunters, don't miss that show. So have a good weekend, and ciao ciao.